How's everyone doing out there? And welcome to our very first episode of The Hook. My name is Chris Williams.
And I'm Jaida Hall.
And today we have a great show lined up for you. We have a lot of special guests, including Jason Ivey of Ivy League Design, Luis the Poet, and singer-songwriter Toby Martin.
Today we are going to talk about something that is near and dear to my heart, and it's college degree versus a non-college degree. This is close to my heart because it's taken me personally about 4.5 years to figure out what I want to do.
That's average now.
Well, yeah.
Average now.
And it wasn't until recently where I said to myself, I want to go back and I want to get this piece of paper for myself. Not necessarily because it's going to help me where I need to go, but it's a personal accomplishment that I want. My parents both graduated, my brothers graduated, my sister's on her way, and so I want it.
I think right now it also sets like a good example just for like, you know, people that are younger than us, you know, people in your family say like, oh, my older cousin went to college.
Right.
I want to go to college. I went to Delaware State University, graduated television production. I learned a lot there. It was a lot of fun. Obviously, you know, you get girls, but you also get a good education. But as far as that, I did the summertime graduating thing. Came back, actually shook Queen Latifah's hand.
No, because you were too busy getting girls. That's why it took you so long.
That's not why.
Why?
You saw me shake Queen Latifah's hand.
I saw.
I was walking across that stage.
Cheesing.
I did. So what else is going on today? Like, what is your issues today with college versus non-college?
I think that a lot of the issues that people are facing today is not having any money. A lot of kids want to go to school, but as far as the money and being able to apply for financial aid, I know a situation that I went through. It was very hard for me to apply for financial aid because my parents, their income is too high. And I have no income, so me not knowing the knowledge of going through financial aid, I didn't know what to do. So it really set me back for a couple years, and until I figured out that I need to do it on my own. Another reason why people aren't going to school is because they don't know what they want to do. So I think it's very important before you apply to any college to figure out what you want to do. You have to have a plan. You have to have a vision. You have to be able to see yourself in your craft. And if you see yourself being a cook, why in the world are you going to go to school for English? It doesn't make sense.
It doesn't make sense. You don't have the desire to be there.
Nope.
So if you have a choice right now, what do you feel about the whole, you know, take money out? Like Sallie Mae, for example. That is a huge problem with a lot of people today. They go through Sallie Mae and they graduate school, but then how are you a 24, 25-year-old with, you know, let's say $90,000 in debt?
I don't know.
It's a lot.
And I don't want that to be my situation. I do not want to be able to graduate and live off of government assistance for the 4 years that I'm in college, by Pell loans, by grants, and live good for 4.5 years or 4 years, however long it takes me to finish school, and then get out and be broke as a skunk and don't know what direction to go in.
Well, why do you know skunks even had income? But we'll even go farther into that. What about if you say, you know, you're $90,000 in debt, but also you get a job, and how much are you really going to make? About $30,000 a year? And your student loan payback would be about $400 or $500 a month, plus whatever else you got to pay, your own bills.
And your car note, and your apartment, and your food, and your gas.
And your parents just told you, it's time.
It's time.
That room just became an office over 4 years. What are you going to do?
You have to have a plan. And that's what the show is about. We have 3 amazing people that have 3 amazing stories, and they have a plan. They had a plan, they have a plan, and they will continue to have a plan.
So hopefully today's show can inspire you, also give you some knowledge further on to let you know what you can do, and also you can hear some real personal stories about people that went through real struggles at times, but also have some real highs, some real lows, but overall they're going to do well, and so will you, and we're here to teach you that today.
Like we always do with this time, I go for mine, I get to shine, now throw your hands.
Alright, here we got Jason Ivey of Ivy League Design right now. What's going on, bro?
What's going on? How you doing? You know what I mean?
All right.
Cool.
And right now, we're going to interview him a little bit about what he's been up to lately. He's going to tell us a little about his story, man. So tell us a little about yourself, Jay.
You know, originally from West Philly. You know, I mean, I came over to Jersey about 15 years ago. Been staying here now. You know, besides that, just designing. Design anything, actually. You know what I mean? Clothing, furniture, trying to do interior design. I love art, so, you know, I'm starting to do a little bit of that, too. You know, I'm a little bit of a mixture of everything, you know what I mean? My thing is, nowadays, you have to. If you really want to succeed out there, you can't really be in a box.
Well, first question, what inspires you to get into that type of field with art, the design, and all that stuff? What got you into that?
It's funny, you know what I mean? I didn't even know I was really into clothing, even though when I was younger, I used to tear apart my clothes, and I had I was in a single-family home, so my mom used to hate that, you know what I mean? Coming home and seeing Levi's torn to shreds, she wasn't really feeling that, so, you know,
when $40 jeans.
You know what I mean? It was a lot of money. So, you know, looking back on it, I've always had that eye, you know what I mean? But I never was really a person to, you know, critique it or anything like that. You know, after it was walking down South Street, you know, Philly, and a lot of people used to, you know, compliment my clothes, and I wasn't wearing nobody else's clothes except for my own. And that's how it kind of progressed from that. You know, I had friends like, hey, you wearing these clothes, you're making it, so why don't
give you kind of like a confidence boost? You kind of
yeah, because you know, I was, you know, at that time it was nothing really out there that I would really like to myself. So I was like, if I don't like it myself, what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna go make it myself. So.
And when exactly did your mom start feeling it? Start ripping up the clothes?
A couple of years ago, when she saw the when she saw the website go up, you know what I mean, and she started realizing like, wow, you know what I mean. I really wish, you know, I would have. You know, she's a hardworking mother, so she wasn't around all the time to see. You know what I mean. She only came in, saw that, and went to bed. So now she kind of saw, oh man, you know, when he was younger, he was doing this, and I didn't even really pick up on it. So you know, that's just a shout out to, you know, all the parents out there. Just if you have a little kid and you see them painting or you see them doing poetry or anything, you know, make sure you develop that, because you know that you never know what that might be, and it might help them, as you were saying about going to college and everything. That might make them get a further goal of what they want to do later on in life.
You didn't go to college?
Nope.
Why didn't you go?
You know, at the time, you know, I was a single family home. You know, my mother didn't really have the money. At that time, she's working a lot. I didn't really know how, you know, financial aid. I didn't know what I really wanted to do at that time. So my thing about it was, do I really want to sit there in school, which I know a lot of people did, and sat there and was like, you know, I'm just going to kind of bumblefoot through for the next couple of years until I figure out what I want to do, and then get out, as you guys were saying, and just owe all this money. And I saw that wasn't the key for me. I'd rather take that money that I was working, you know, doing little gap jobs, just a little here and there, and actually put that into what I want to do progressively for the rest of my life.
Okay.
I think, to me, that is the best thing for some people to do, and I might not be the path for everybody.
Right.
But at the same time about it, I don't think anybody should rush into anything just because everybody else is doing it.
Right.
Sometimes a lot of people get caught up in that. You know what I mean? Well, this person has this and this person has that, so I guess I got to do that too, instead of sitting back and carving their own path.
Right. So when did you find yourself? When did you find out who Ivy League Design was?
It's a quality of life thing. You know, you got to kind of ask yourself, do you want to wake up and go and, you know, excuse the frame, but, you know, make somebody else rich? Or do you want to wake up and be happy with what you're doing? You know what I mean? And to me, that's a blessing.
Right.
I don't have to be the richest person in the world.
Right.
As long as I can provide for my family, you know, future family, as long as my family is healthy, as long as I'm healthy, I'm blessed to be that way.
Right.
You know, you can turn on the news nowadays and see people that are not like that nowadays. You know what I mean? And people who are sleeping on benches. You know what I mean? So as long as I know that, you know, I have a goal in life, and that goal is something that I want to do and it's going to make me happy, that's all that should matter.
Okay, so tell us more about Ivy League Design. How did you get into furniture? How did you go from clothing to furniture and say, I want to walk into a house and say, you know what, I want all of this to be Ivy League Design? How did you get into that?
You know what, it's a little bit of my mom. You know what I mean? She was always a, you know, an interior designer in a way. You know what I mean? That was never her profession. She was always an accountant, but she always had that eye, and it kind of just passed down to me. You know what I mean? You don't really realize how much you are like your parents until you get a little older and you start kind of sit back and be like, man, you know what I mean? Like, you walk into a store and everybody likes their own thing, but you walk into the store, you see the fabric, you see the chair, oh, that's cool, but I don't know if I would do that.
Right.
And then you start saying it more and more, and you start telling people your ideas, and then it starts kind of growing from that. It was really organic. You know, it was never one of those things where I woke up one day and was like, this is what I'm going to do for the rest of my life.
Right.
It was kind of like, all right, this is what I want to design. I don't see anything else like that out there. And then when you have other people appreciate what you're doing, that's when the light bulb really goes off in your head. Absolutely. Like, hold up. People like like what I like. You know what I mean? Other people actually spend money on that.
Yeah.
Right.
That's major right there to me, because you know, you don't have to have millions and millions of people in the world that wants to buy your stuff, even though that would be great. But you don't have to have that. You know what I mean? If you can get a handful of people that follows your movement and appreciates the hard work that you're doing, and are willing to give you their hard-earned money to you know, progress your craft, you can't do anything else but, you know, be blessed and run with it.
Right.
Why not run with it?
Right. Okay, so I have a quote that I want to read to you. It's from ABC News. It's a quote that President Obama said, and I want to see how you feel about it. I like your brain, and I want to see what you think.
No doubt.
He was addressing the NAACP, the 100th anniversary. This was July 17th of 2009, and he said, they might, talking about kids, our generation, that he said, they might think they've got a pretty good jump shot or a pretty good flow, but our kids can't all aspire to be the next LeBron or Lil Wayne. I want them to aspire to be scientists and engineers, doctors and teachers, not just ballers and rappers. I want them aspiring to be a Supreme Court justice. I want them aspiring to be President of the United States. I have my feelings about that, and I'm sure you do, and we're going to cover that, but I want to know what you think of that quote.
It's about educating the youth nowadays, you know what I mean? It doesn't mean education as you just got to go to college and educate them. I mean educate them as us educating them.
Right.
You know, friends educating them, families, you know what I mean? Because a lot of kids nowadays don't know that you can aspire to be everything except for that. Okay. You know what I mean? Nowadays society, they're blasting music, and you know, you got to be an NBA, you got to be this, you know what I mean? Even tennis, you know what I mean? Be a tennis player, you know what I mean? Be golf, you know what I mean? It doesn't have to be always the norm that everybody wants you to be. Always think outside the box. You will do a lot better in life when you think outside the box and you don't become the sheeple, as I call it. You know what I mean? You're not sitting there watching TV, do this, and it's like bad, yeah, okay, bad. We do whatever you want.
You would say a lot of people are taking more like trying to take that shortcut, saying like, if I'm in the gym every day, I just saw Space Jam. I sit out in the rain and shoot some foul shots. Maybe I'd be like Mike. You know what I mean? But it's like, you know, I think it has to be a more realistic standpoint.
Yeah, you know, as my man Mars Blackman said, I mean, it must be the shoes. You know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? Like, you know, you can't dunk like him because you got a pair of J's on. You know what I mean? Exactly. It takes hard work and it takes education to get that. And whatever the way your education comes is the way it comes. You know what I mean? Everybody doesn't learn the same way. When I was younger, I found out that I don't learn. I can read a book, but I can read that book 20 times sometimes and not figure out what that book says to me.
Right.
I'm a visual learner, and that's how a lot of people don't realize that there's other ways of learning. Exactly. Sometimes people get frustrated, you know what I mean, because they can't, you know, pick up certain things. And that's the way I was when I was younger. I couldn't pick up certain things, and I didn't know why. Until one day I figured out, you know, did some testing and figured out, well, I don't learn like every single kid out there in the world.
Because you didn't do the whole college thing, I feel as though like in college a little bit, you know, a lot of people were just like, you know, you kind of coast by in college. Like, you know, there's so much technology now that, that you know, it makes it easier for everyone to learn and do stuff you're not as smart. But you had more of a real world situation because you didn't go, so you kind of figure everything out on your own.
Oh yeah, man. I mean, but between, you know, I was, you know, the YouTube generation in the beginning. You know what I mean? If I wanted to learn how to screen print myself, I went to YouTube. You know, it's funny how you tell people how you learn certain things, and then that light bulb goes off on them. Like, how did you learn how to do that? I went to YouTube, hit play, watched somebody how to do it, hit pause, did it myself. Hit play, went and watched them how to do it, hit pause, did it myself. You know what I mean? And a lot of people there, you can see them, it clicks in their eyes like, wow, I never thought about that. And that's something that we all can go on our phones right now and learn and do stuff. You know what I mean? And that's the key of letting people know that there's other avenues out there. You know what I mean? Like, don't get me wrong, you know, you want to be a lawyer, I say go to college, stuff like that. But if you want to learn certain crafts, you don't always have to go to school. You know, you don't always have to go to school. But you know, some people don't want to for me to say that, but that's the truth. You know what I mean? I'm evident of that. You know what I mean? I have a good job. You know, I know a lot of good people. I know a lot of good traits, and I didn't go to school to do that. So
absolutely.
We thank Jason for coming out here and putting his input. He's a mind that I love to pick at. Whenever I have questions, I go to this guy about anything. So it's not necessarily always being the rapper, or it's not always necessarily being the next LeBron. It's you finding your craft and you mastering it.
Exactly.
If your craft is rapping, you go to I'm all for school. You go to school, you learn how to write sentences. You learn how to put paragraphs together. That way, when you put your rhymes together, it's gonna make sense. If it's school or if it's not school, do what you feel like you've been called to do. If it's rapping, do it, and do it to the best of your ability. If it's to be a lawyer, go to school, sit down, and learn how to argue.
You can do both.
You can do both.
You want to rap? You can do both.
You can do both. Just make sure when you do it, you have a vision for it, and that's why we appreciate Jason, because his vision's awesome.
The show's going to the top.
Yeah.
Do you have any contacts you want to shout out to the
Twitter, Instagram?
Oh yeah, you know what I mean? Instagram, JIVJAY, IvyLeagueDesign.com, and Ivy League Design on Twitter. You know, and just, you know, shout me out. If you ever have any questions out there, just let me know. You know, I love to sell, but I love to teach at the same time too.
Yeah. This was our first guest on The Hook.
Jason Ivy.
Here we go now.
You ready? Want to kick me a BJ? He's wearing Ivy League. Driving in the car, got a lot of bit of speed. Pass it to Jaida.
I'm not a rapper. I got a lot to say. I'm sitting here around the bay. Hey!
You gonna fix it?